Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, welcome back to another Dragon Prince review video. This is the review for Season 2, Episode 2 of the Dragon Prince, Half Moon Lies. Here we are. Today's date is October 10th, 2021. And I'm wearing my Ravenclaw jacket for no reason. Also, have a drink of water, as I've always talked about. I'm just like, I need a drink of water. My throat is so dry. Why do I not have water with me? Should I have water with me? Except for last time I didn't have water with me for the Guardians of the Galaxy review. Anyways, welcome back. Just some announcements before I start the video. If you guys don't know, I run 3 different channels. This is the last one I created, so it's Keeper of the Movies, this one, Keeper of the Games, and Keeper of the Books. Keeper of the Books is a channel that I run talking about books, characters from books, ships, the works. Right now I've been doing I'm posting currently some main character tournaments, and soon enough I'll be filming a side character tournament that will have 2, 3, 4, I think about 14 rounds, rather than the main character tournament, which only had 7. Keeper of the Games is my gaming channel. I'm currently posting some Super Mario Odyssey videos on there that are filmed with this camcorder. But in just a few weeks, probably just a couple weeks by this point, and by the time that this is put up, it might actually be the first week I start releasing these, and that is videos that I've taken with a headphone mic on the computer with a capture card. That'll include Super Mario Odyssey, Little Nightmares DLC, Portal 2, stuff like that. And obviously, if you haven't seen any of my videos on this channel before, I do mostly review videos, a few ranking videos here and there. I am currently working on review videos for the Dragon Prince and the MCU. So obviously I'm on Dragon Prince Season 2, Episode 2, and Avengers Age of Ultron. I have seen the entire MCU before, except for Black Widow and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I have seen all of the Dragon Prince that has come out so far, aka Seasons 1 through 3. So I've seen these before. They're just rewatch reviews. Just, you know. Announcement though. So coming up here in about a month, and then 2 months and 3 months, for the next 3 months after October, starting November, December, and January, are the 3 months that I started up these 3 channels. Keeper of the Books was November, Keeper of the Games was December, and this channel, Keeper of the Movies, was January, which means, just even though I don't have very many subscribers, I wanted to do kind of like I've been doing this for a year kind of thing, like a special for each of the channels. This camera's starting to die, so let me just fix that. So basically, the Keeper of the Books version for that will be some background on my nickname that I use. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pick this up. Come on. I should have just put this on to charge beforehand. Okay, where are you? Okay. This is gonna be long. I'm turning off the lens because I need to plug this in. Okay. Sorry about this. I'm gonna have to do this in a little bit. I'm pretty new to YouTube. I've only been doing this for a year, like I said. But yeah, so the Keeper of the Book special will be some background on my nickname, Speeder, or Speeder638. Why I call myself that. You know, just a little thing. And then, that's probably the least interesting one, but Keep of the Games, I will be talking about this will be on December 25th, whereas the Keep of the Books one will be on November 12th. So yes, the Keep of the Games one will be on Christmas. And I will be talking about my favorite video games and why. And then for this channel on January 3rd, I believe, which is when I started up this channel, of next year, I will be talking about my favorite TV shows and movies and why they're my favorite TV shows and movies. So yeah, some of them I've talked about on this channel before, some of them I haven't. Some of them I will talk about in the future. Okay, so let's us get into this review. Basically, if you haven't seen one of my Dragon Prince review videos before, also by the way, I talk very quickly sometimes, and sometimes I talk very slow with a lot of pauses in between, so I apologize for that. Right now, in the announcement section, and the kind of what I do here section, is very quick. Well, not quick in time-wise, just how I talk. It's very quick. So basically how these work is I just go through what happens in the episode and I give some thoughts about it, kind of just talk about it as I go along through the episode. And at the end, I will probably touch on things such as the action, the humor, character development, stuff like that. I don't give ratings for these like I do for the MCU ones, but I do give them a little, just what my thoughts are on them. Just a little review. But yeah. This video will contain spoilers for the entirety of the Dragon Prince Season 1 and episodes 1 and 2 of the Dragon Prince Season 2. I will try to avoid spoilers for future episodes, including the rest of Season 2 and all of Season 3. Because as I have seen these, I don't want to spoil, but I may, so just warning on that, but I will try my best not to. So let's get into this. Okay. I have finally figured out her name. It's Lu Jane, or something like that, along those lines. I kept calling her Moon Lady in previous ones, partially as a joke, and also partially because I had no idea what her name was. But it's like, it's Lu Jane, or Lu Jane, something like that. I'm honestly still not 100% certain. But it's because they say her name like 3 times in this episode, which is great. So this is another Moon Nexus episode, where they are at the Moon Nexus, at the top of the Cursed Caldera. We started these episodes at the very end of Season 1, so we've been here for 3 episodes. So yeah. So we started this episode, we're right where we left off in Season 2, Episode 1, and that is, you have Soren and Claudia standing over a sleeping Rayla, and Claudia is telling Soren to finish the job, take her out, you know, because, well, they believe that she kidnapped the princess, and, well, she is a Moonshadow Elf, which is, like, the humans' mortal enemies, basically. So yeah. But Soren is about to do it, but then he hesitates, and he thinks about the fact that she's sleeping, and he's never done this when someone is sleeping. He's always been in sporting conflict, rather than just cold blood, which is a good thing to hesitate about. You don't want to do that. But he hesitates and says that he wants to make it sporting, which means that she only needs to be awake for 1 second. But as Claudia is counting down from the time when she will wake up Rayla, we discover that while at the end of the previous episode, Rayla stopped and picked a rose before she fell, she was actually pricking herself with a thorn from the rose to keep herself awake and alert. Well, as alert as she could be, but awake. Awake enough that she could fight. So she gets up, starts fighting Soren. You have this great moment where Soren is being a total show-off. It's great. And I actually really like this fight scene. You kind of think, at least I kind of think of Soren as kind of dumb sometimes. Like, not dumb. That's a bad way to put it. Just like a bit slow. Which is how his character is meant to be portrayed, right? It's not an insult. It's how he is meant to be portrayed. Yes, you don't go around calling someone that in real life. That's not a good thing. Don't do that, people, ever. Seriously. But he is written to be a slower character. And that's okay. But in this scene, you can see that he actually is very skilled at fighting, which kind of shows why he's the King's Guard. And he actually is able to hold his own for a moment against Rayla, who is a Moonshadow Elf assassin. Even though she's never taken life, she is a Moonshadow Elf assassin who has trained for years in combat and has bested some very good people. She barely is able to best Soren, and that's... I mean, he did have a little bit of help from Claudia, which is why she was in the mud. But even without that help, Soren actually stood a chance against Rayla for a moment. He may not have been as good as her, and I mean, she's naturally a fighter. She has trained for years. She's Moonshadow also, and she's probably a little more agile. She's way more agile. So it kind of makes sense. She's also in a lot lighter clothing. She's not in armor like Soren is. So it makes sense that she was able to beat him. But it also shows how actually good of a fighter he is, because he's actually pretty good at fighting. He may not be aware of all techniques in fighting, such as apparently this thing called swipe the leg that exists in this world. But he is still pretty good at it. And he got a nice, humorous moment in this fight where it's kind of a callback to Season 1, where Callum and Soren are training with practice swords because Soren's trying to teach Callum to fight. Another example of him actually being pretty good at fighting, while also being pretty goofy at the same time. Callum attempts to swipe the leg. And Soren's like, there's no such thing as swipe the leg in sword fighting. And then later in the episode, Rayla swipes the leg by putting her swords underneath these two guards' feet and knocking them over. Which is... I mean, I guess it might work, but I don't know how well that would work in real life. Because if you think about it, if you were to put your sword underneath someone's foot, I mean, maybe you catch them like by surprise, as Rayla does in these situations. But if you don't catch them by surprise and they aren't surprised, that gives them a major opening. It's like how you never spin attack in a sword fight, because your back is then open for a moment, allowing your opponent to strike you. I know next to nothing about sword fighting, but I do know you don't spin. The most sword fighting I've ever done is like practice matches against like cousins and my brothers, right? And occasionally my sisters. I mean, like, I fought with lightsabers before. I mean, why not? I was never the hugest, largest Star Wars fan, but I mean, I fought with lightsabers before, and I fought with like foam swords, and I've also fought with done sword fighting with like floaty stuff, like floaties, that kind of thing. But I have held my own in a sword fight before, but not with like actual swords. They were foam swords, but Oh, and I also have I used to do cardboard swords as well, but I haven't actually done any actual fencing or sword fighting or anything. But I do know you don't want to spin because it'll leave your back open for a moment. There might be other reasons for that, but that's the main one I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong about this, because I don't want to be spreading false information about this. I know nothing about sword fighting. But this is why this moment confuses me just a little bit, because I do not think that would actually work in real life, because that would give the person an opening if they're not distracted, because your sword is now under their foot, and you are in front of them weaponless. So if you don't have training aside from a sword, like hand-to-hand combat training that can also go up against a sword, sorry. Especially if your hand slips. Like if your sword doesn't have a grip, like if you aren't like strapped to your sword, which is a very rare thing, then you're likely to slip in a situation where your hands are sweaty. And if you're not super experienced, even if you are experienced and your hand doesn't slip, your opponent, if they're also experienced, having that under the foot, your weapon under their foot, I feel like they would be able to strike you in that moment if they're not surprised and taken aback by this. So if someone had already encountered this before and they were waiting for this, then I don't think it would work. But in this situation, I think it may work just because he was taken by surprise. I don't think against a more knowledgeable opponent who knows about this technique, I don't think that would have worked. Anyways, that's my take on sword fighting for today. I write novels, by the way. I haven't gotten any of them published yet, but I do write novels that I would like to get published, and there is quite a bit of sword fighting in there, so I know a small amount, just enough to be able to write about it. But yeah, I don't know. I need to study into that more. Just a tad. Let's see. So, I've just gone on for 18 minutes, and I'm still on the first scene. This is great. So, then at the end of the fight, Claudia has used dark magic on Rayla's swords, which has heated them up, so she had to drop them, which caused the mud that was under her feet to heat up. And so she kicks hot mud into Soren's face. And then Callum comes rushing towards them and stops the fight. He explains the situation to both of his friends, like all of his friends, and is like, "These are two of my oldest friends. This is my new friend. She didn't kidnap us. We're fine. You can kill them in the morning." Ow. Frick. Oh. That's odd. I have a loose fingernail that just stabbed me between the fingers. That was not okay. Fingernails. Anyways, so Callum and Rayla talk, and Callum is like, "Hey, I trust them. I know you don't trust them, but please give them the benefit of the doubt. Come on, Rayla, you're my friend, but I trust these guys. Please just give them the benefit of the doubt for now. Okay, so... Ow. Okay, that was not my fingernail. What the frick is that? Ow. Why is my finger randomly hurting? Do I have like a pokey or something? The frick? That's weird. Okay. So, let's see. Alright, so the next morning, Soren and Claudia are talking. Claudia is, so Soren is trying to talk to Claudia and he's like, we need to get the princess to come home with us somehow. We should stuff them in a sack. But before he says this, Claudia has a reference to the first season, that she needs to drink her hot brown morning juice before anyone can talk to her. Is this coffee? Because I must know. This is almost certainly coffee. I've never had coffee in my life, and I never will. But is this coffee? Because I know a lot of people drink coffee because of its caffeine and sugar and stuff in the mornings, and, well, frankly, sometimes at night, to get awake and be able to start their day. But, like, the way that this is used, I feel like this hot brown morning potion is coffee. Like, you cannot tell me that that isn't coffee. I like, if there is some sort of other explanation for this other than the fact that this is definitely coffee, then I want to know about it. I feel like they're inferring that, right? Inferring that, gosh, I can't speak apparently. They're implying that. I feel like they are implying that. But anyways, I don't see the appeal of coffee, honestly. But anyways, I hate the smell. I know some people like the smell. I hate the smell. Absolutely not. But you do. You do you. Let's see. So, they're having this conversation about how to get the princess to come home with them. Soren, originally, being himself, suggests force. Claudia's like, no, we shouldn't hit our friends and stuff them in a sack. Let's not do that. Instead, let's talk to them and ask them to come home with us. Like, ask them to come home. Ask them to come back to the castle. And Soren's like, okay, we need to butter them up. So Claudia gets an idea from this, and she ends up making them pancakes, which look delicious, and taste delicious, until she mentions that she uses a hint of dark magic. So in other words, this pancake cost a creature's life. It's like, if you're making food with dark magic, it's like you're eating a soul. Like, no. Oh my gosh. Some poor innocent tiny creature was used to make these pancakes. I would also push it away. I would not eat that or participate in that situation. Like, Claudia acts like dark magic is totally normal, but she's literally squeezing the magical energy and the life force of this creature out of it. The frick? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The implications of dark magic is very dark, which is probably where the name comes from. Goodness gracious. Okay. So, after they find out that the pancakes are made with dark magic, Claudia asks them politely, so, now that we're here, would you like to come home with us? And they're like, oh, so she also says, and you'll bring the egg, of course. And they're like, the egg isn't around anymore. And she's like, what? And so they show her baby Zim. And like me, she thinks he is incredibly adorable, which is so valid because he is very adorable. But also valid, they do not want her to get close to him because, again, she uses dark magic, and this is a magical creature. And her father, who she wants to take this thing back to, is even more evil. She's not even evil right now. She's just a normal person who's been brainwashed, basically. But her dad is actually evil, and he will use this thing for evil. It makes sense why they don't want her near him. So, basically Rhea's like, you're not getting anywhere close to this dragon. No, we're not going home. No, the princes aren't going home with you. They came by choice. The mission is too important, Callum says. And Soren thinks to himself, he's like, we need to butter them up. And so he says something awful. And he says that the king, their dad, really misses them. Which is so terrible of you to do. Like, I'm sorry. Even if they were to go with you, they would know you were lying when they got back. Like, there's no doubt about it. They would know that you were lying. Eventually, you're gonna break their trust with this comment. Whether that they knew, or if they came back with you and then found out, or something. Like, they would know not to trust you just from this comment. That was such an idiotic move. Rayla immediately knows that he's lying, because obviously she knows that the king is dead. And there's more water. And Claudia is obviously furious with him. When they go back, she talks to Soren, tells him off for this comment, and says that she's going to use trust to get them to go back with her, rather than going the brute force way like Soren wants to do. And Rayla talks to Callum, tries to tell him that she doesn't trust Soren and Claudia, and she's about to tell him that the king is dead, but Claudia, unfortunately, interrupts. Now, while this is going on, Soren is thinking about the mission that his dad sent him on before he left, which is, do not let the princes come back. Find them, if you must, but don't let them come back. He's like, there's good reason for this. No, there's not, Viren. Shut up. Just please shut up. And so Soren, trying to make his dad happy, tries to think up some sort of accident that could happen, and so he decides to build a zip line across a very deep canyon. Yeah, fun. Totally safe. So safe. So safe. So safe. Very, very safe. Yeah. So very safe. And while this is going on, back in Katalis, well, I guess they're still in Katalis, I guess, but back in the castle, Viren enters his super secret basement, passes by Commander Gren who, of course, has a great witty comment. Not really a witty comment, actually. He has a great awkward comment that is really funny in this situation. Yeah, it wasn't a witty comment. Yeah, sorry, that was the wrong language. I wish I could use editing software, except I don't know how to use it. And, well, I kind of know how to use it for gaming stuff. But anyways. Let's see here. Anyway, sorry. That was an impulse beatbox. Okay. So, let's see here. It also probably sounded really bad over this very bad microphone that is hardwired into the camera. Anyways, sorry. This is the point in time when I start losing track of my thoughts because I've been talking for 30 minutes. Yay. Okay. Where was I? Ah, yes. So, Viren passes by Commander Ren, and he goes into his dungeon room that he had Runan in before he trapped him in a coin, and he looks once again at the mirror and is completely intending to figure out its secrets this time around. This mirror has appeared several times, starting in the first episode, and then a couple times after that, and it's clear he's trying to figure out, what is this mirror? Why was it by the Dragon King and Queen's bedside? So all this is going on with Viren. We go back to Callum and Claudia. Oh yeah, goodness gracious, I completely missed a moment. Earlier on in the episode, before Soren and Claudia talk in the morning, you have a great moment between Callum and Ezran, where Callum is trying to fix his hair. And Ezran is like, who are you trying to impress? When he's fixing his hair and he's like, impress. Who am I trying to impress now? Is this more up? That was a great moment. That was also a very bad impersonation. So you're welcome. Okay. Anyways. Let's see. So, yeah, you go back to Callum and Claudia. And they're talking for a little bit, and Claudia is wanting to tell him what happens to his dad, and he admits that he broke a primal stone on purpose. This actually might have happened earlier in the episode. I don't know, I don't take notes. I probably should. I have in the past. I don't know. Feels a little bit easier just not to. So, sorry if these events are kind of out of order. I'm covering most things, if not everything. But, I may not necessarily say it in order. Okay, I need to stop rolling around. I'm on an exercise ball right now, and I keep rolling around, making, like, the camera angles really weird. I just need to sit still. But I cannot sit still. Just move your fingers. I like to do this, I don't know why. But anyways, and this. It's just weirdly soothing. Like, take these, big middle joints just above your fingernails, and then you have these points here. Just split your knuckles. And just kind of go like this. Just rub them together. I don't know what it is. Or sometimes I just take... No, wait. Yeah, sometimes I just take this and this. Just go like this. Oh, that's fine. Anyways, sorry. Okay, so... Let's see. Callum says that he would like to show Claudia around the Moon Nexus. So, let's see. At the same time, Soren is taking Ezran and Zim up and down this zip line. And just waiting for an accident to happen. But luckily, Rayla steps in right before the peg is about to come loose and is like, hey, what you doing? And he's like, this is totally safe. Yeah, totally safe. I am not trying to cause an accident whatsoever. Nope. Let's see. And she tells him, well, if it's so safe, why don't you go down next? So then he tightens it and goes down. And Rayla's like, alright, I still don't trust you whatsoever, but alright. And then she returns to Callum and tells him about this, but explains it very badly, and then says something very hurtful, where he's like, I've known Soren and Claudia for years. I trust them completely. You and I, Rayla, we don't have that kind of trust yet. We don't have that yet. We haven't known each other for years. Sorry. And let's see. So then Rayla goes to Lejane for some advice. She gives her the opposite of the advice she needs, but this causes her, Rayla, to, think up the actual thing that she needs to do, which is to share the whole truth. And Lejane is like, well, I did give you the correct advice then. And she's like, no, you didn't. What you said was completely wrong. Why did I just switch to an accent? Stop switching to an accent. What you said was completely wrong. You didn't give me good advice. And she's like, did I? And one of my favorite moments here is when Rayla's like, but a good relationship requires the whole truth, which is true. Honesty is key. And she's like, oh, you sound like my first 3 husbands, which is great. Also, I want to know your backstory, but it's great. And then you have Claudia and Soren talking again. Claudia's fixing up her hair. Soren's like, you're not gonna get distracted, are you? And she's like, no. I got one more shot to do this. So then, oh yeah, while Callum and Claudia, during the day, Callum and Claudia are out walking along the Nexus, and they go into this room with a bunch of runes in it, and Claudia kind of explains her reasoning behind using dark magic, how humans were born with nothing, and then they innovated and found a different way to do amazing things, which was a terrible way, an unnatural way, a wrong way, which is clearly conveyed here. And this is melting. Yeah. And Callum's like, I kind of want to just learn primal magic, which he repeatedly says many times. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, Callum and Claudia are on their nighttime kind of date thing. Callum pretends to hold shadow hands with her. Claudia sees this. It's kind of cute. nah, I don't really ship it. It's just me. Personally, I have another ship, which may or may not. Yeah, I'm not gonna share what it is. Another 40-minute video. How fun. These ones are all like 40 minutes long. Probably because I'm, doing lots of rants between, but that's kind of the point of these particular reviews, is just me going on rants about what I think about certain moments. I've not really done that in the past, but starting now in the second season. I kind of did this last time too. So, yeah. I only had like a 6 or 7 minute long intro this time, not 8 minutes. Pretty good for me. I really need to shorten down my intros. And maybe put announcements at the end. I don't know. I'd rather have them at the beginning, kinda. I've seen longer intros before. I have. Let's see. It's very rare, but I have. Okay. So Callum and Claudia get to the Moon Nexus, and like the actual Moon Nexus, where like the pool is that reflects the moon's light, and goodness, okay. I have to go to my grandma's house today. Okay, sorry. Alright. Let's see. Okay, sorry. So they get to the moon pool thing, not the moon pool, that's a different show. But the Moon Nexus thing, like the actual one, where basically the place, the pond-like thing where the moon is reflected, and Callum and Claudia talk for a little bit. Seems like they're about to kiss, but then Claudia stops it and she's like, Callum, I need to tell you something. And clearly she tells him that his stepfather, I guess, was in fact successfully assassinated by the Moonshot Elves. So Callum goes back crying, and Rayla's like, oh no, what have I done? So we leave off there, but then at the very end of the episode, you go back to Viren, who uses a spell that should reveal all illusions. So he does this, but nothing happens, so he gets super angry, and knocks down the candles, they burst into flame, like, everything around him bursts into flame, and he turns off all the lights in the room, and that is when the mirror finally reveals itself. And apparently what the secret all along is that it needs to be dark. And he sees into a strange room. So that ends up with the episode. There was a small amount of action in this episode, which I covered, obviously. The humor was pretty good. Definitely better than some other episodes. And I think it was some of the best humor. It was good. Also had a pretty good storyline, some pretty good character developments, in some places some secrets revealed, and yeah. It was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed this one. It remains a favorite of mine in season 2, and yeah. I like this episode. I hope you enjoyed my review of it. I don't really have much else to say, except if you want to see me review a different show, besides this, that I can add to my list, because I only have 3 other shows that I want to cover after The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, and The Adventures of Merlin. and just let me know in the comments. I know comments don't always work here. I try to keep them enabled as much as I can, but YouTube likes to disable them, which is not always great, but I try to keep them enabled. So if you can, comment which one would you like to see me review, because as long as it's appropriate, and not anything above TV-14, then I could probably look into it. Also, there's a set of movies. I might also be able to do that. Just let me know. Just, movies need to be kind of appropriate and nothing above PG-13. And TV shows also have to be pretty appropriate and TV-14 or below. So yeah. And I'll have to have someone else review it before I can actually watch it. But yeah, that's all I really have for today. I will see you guys next time.